Hi, this is Ex Nihilo, and I'm going to be showing you some materials that are used to make padded weapons for live-action role-play games. We're going to start by showing you some cores. Back when we first started making weapons, we primarily used CPVC. This is 3/4 CPVC. This is 3/4 PVC. Notice the difference in size. And this is 1/2" CPVC. All of these can be used for weapons, but there certainly is some constrictions. 40 inches long for 3/4 PVC, and the weapon will start getting whippy after about 40 to 48 inches. 3/4 PVC is great for doing some pole arms or enforcing some handles, but is not recommended due to the weight, and there's better options nowadays. 1/2" CPVC is a great lightweight weapon core for beginning weapons, but it really is not a good weapon longer than about 24 inches because, again, the bendability, the breakability is really not worth it compared to better, more high-tech cores. My favorite core is taking a old golf club that is a fiberglass or a carbon fiber club, cutting the head off of it and making it into this tapered core. What's nice is you have a already weighted handle. It is tapered, and so most of your weight is back to the hilt's end of your weapon. So this is my favorite type of core right here. So you can usually find these golf clubs at thrift stores, yard sales, anything like that, and pick them up for anything from $1 a piece to whatever you can make an offer on. So keep your eye out for these. Now, a lot of people I have seen in the past will try to make different weapons by using some of these CPVC joints. That's great if you're going to be using weapons light as touch. You probably won't have much of a problem, but any serious sparring with these weapons and these CPVC joints will fail you. They will either fail in the glue joint or they will crack. So it is not recommended to use any of these joints if you're going to be doing any serious sparring. Now, exception to these 3/4 or this is a 1/2" PVC or a 3/4 CPVC end cap is very good for putting a end cap on your arrows when we make arrows. It will go over the end and make sure that there is no penetration. In the older days, we used to put a coin over the top or even a bottle cap, but I've had those eventually fail. This, although is a little bit heavier, gives you a more surefire method that nobody's going to get hurt. So that is some of our cores that we use. And now on to our foams. So the first boffer weapons that I made was made out of pipe insulation, and this is phenolic PIR or DUR foam. It's pretty common foam. It can be found in a lot of different products. When they first started making this foam, they would make it a good 5/8 of an inch thick, and as you can see, most of it is only about a half an inch if you're lucky, and so therefore not adequate for weapon construction any longer. But it still can be used for some of the secondary striking surfaces or other parts of the weapon. Just remember that it doesn't give you maximum padding. Also, DUR foam is blue camp mats. This is my favorite type of foam for lamination and blades. You can usually get this stuff from Walmart or some other box store when it comes in season. You get a big roll of this and you can cut it into strips. Now, what I will do is I will take multiple layers of this and build it up around my blade, which I will be doing some tutorials later on how exactly to do that. But this is the main blade smithing foam that I will be showing you. There are, however, other foams. This is a pool noodle foam, and as you can see, slightly different. It still is a phenolic foam, but I want you to notice a difference in the air cell size. Okay, the air cells are much larger and have a tendency to collapse much quicker. And so when you're going out and shopping for foam, give it a squeeze. If you hear a bunch of pops, it's not the best foam. You can get some of this foam in yoga products and can be great for core foams. But just pay attention to the quality. Not all pool noodles are created equal. Now we have one more foam. I don't really know the technical name for this, but this foam is found in packing. I believe it can also be found in gym mats. And this foam looks great. I just call it a rigid foam. And it can be really fun for carving. However, not very many things stick to it. Even when it's sanded, things don't tend to stick to it. And I find that it breaks down rather quickly. So you end up using it and working it, and as you can see, I've already left imprints into it. And so you want to be really careful where you use this. You can make a beautiful weapon with it, and find that in one season of use, it no longer has any durability. So that's our blade foams. We're going to move on to EVA foams, or commonly known as puzzle mat foams. And as you can see here, I have several different patterns of EVA foams. I do not suggest that you use EVA foams as a blade foam. For anything more than light touch, or even light touch, it can be rather hard. With the exception of occasionally you'll find a yoga block foam that is quite spongy and acceptable for a blade. But regular puzzle mat EVA foam tends to be a little bit too hard for blades, in my opinion. There are some good bladesmiths out there that will use it, but this is not anything that I will use in my tutorials. However, do pay attention to the multiple different textures that you can get off of it for when we go into armor making. We'll work with some of these textures. And I do use EVA foam for my hilts, for my pommels. It works very well with contact cement, with hot glue, and Plastidip bonds to it very well, and gives you some very realistic looking cross guards. Plus, it will take a beating if you laminate it with some other products. It also comes in different thicknesses, and the heat gun will allow this to be molded and formed to whatever shape you desire. So keep your eye out at different stores for different textures, different shapes, different thicknesses, even down to craft store, craft foam, which is great for putting details on your weapons and armor. So on to some of the other materials. Of course, duct tape. I am a duct tape foam weapon creator. I like my duct tape, and the reason why I like duct tape is because of the accessibility for people. Anybody can use it, and it makes a weapon very easy to repair when it gets damaged. So multiple types of duct tape. Not all duct tapes are created equal. Some duct tapes are better than others. Avoid dollar store duct tape. It does not fold down, and in cold weather it will release. So that's our duct tapes. There are two other tapes that I use. I use this fiber tape. I don't really know what it's called, but I don't know if you can really see the fiber there. But it has a fiber to it and a sticky side. But what's nice about it is contact cement will adhere to it and soak into it. And so you can use it kind of as a reinforcement. It's semi-hard to tear, certainly impossible to tear lengthwise. So it's good for reinforcing tape. Another great reinforcing tape is this packing tape that you'll see with fiberglass reinforcement. That's what those little lines are in the tape. And this stuff you will not break. So when you're trying to make a weapon that, or a part of a weapon that has a lot of stress, it's great to use this fiberglass tape as an ultra light way of reinforcing it. So the downfalls to it is that not a lot of glue sticks to it. You can contact cement over the top of it and it will rub right off. So you've got to be careful where you use it. Duct tape will adhere to it though, so using it for your skins and reinforcing your skins is a great idea. I also use a lot of this cloth ribbon. It's a thicker cloth ribbon, but not so thick that it's going to be heavy. And again, the contact cements and glues will soak into the fibers and make an extra strong bond, and you can use this to reinforce areas of the weapon that are going to receive more abuse than other parts of the weapon. So it's good to have in your kit, not only for weapon creation, but of course you're going to be making large amounts of straps and reinforcements on your EVA foam armor later. And you can attach Velcro to this, buckles to this, anything that you need to use. And instead of riveting everything, you can hot glue this and hot glue it back on itself, and it will have a generally good hold. So that's a quick, easy material to use rather than making leather straps for everything. However, I would suggest that if you want a truly visible, good-looking set of armor, you use leather straps. And that brings us to leather. Now, as you can see, this has a lot of seams in it. Don't be discouraged by the prices of leather nowadays. You certainly can get sheets of leather, but for those of you that don't have the money to go out and buy sides of cow, go look at your thrift store and find an old leather coat or an old leather skirt, and you can get a lot of this leather and cut it up, use it for your handles, use it for different details, and you can get lots of different textures. They're usually suede on one side and finished on the other. And again, what's nice about this suede texture is it will take hot glue and stick very well to things. So keep your eye out for that. Of course, you do have your nicer leathers, your heavier weight leathers for straps, for buckles, and for your handles. So just keep your eye out for the materials. Don't spend full price on things, and that's what a lot of LARP crafting is about, is finding cheap, readily available materials in other places than big box stores. So, last couple of things I want to go over is fiberglass. Fiberglass is a great material. It's strong, it's light, and very easy to work with. This is fiberglass cloth. It is not fiberglass mat. So the reason why I specify that is fiberglass mat is much more miserable to work with. It has a lot of fibers that will get into your skin, and it doesn't have the strength that fiberglass cloth does. So what you want is fiberglass cloth, and I'll be going over some advanced laminating techniques with this that you'll be able to strengthen your weapons without adding a lot of weight to them, and it will not get hard, so you will not risk damaging somebody. So you can pick this up at an auto body shop or an auto parts place. You can pick this up at Lowe's or Home Depot. I think you can even find it at Walmart. So not cheap, but a really good material to have for advanced weapon creation. Also good for reinforcing armor later on. So let's get some of that, and so you'll be ready for those tutorials. And thermoplastic. This is a plastic that is not as expensive as Warbler, but will react to my heat gun, and you can bend this and mold this to whatever shape you desire. However, I do not find this acceptable for any form of weapon whatsoever, because as you can see, it's very thin. You have an edge. If you use this for a cage on your weapon or for details on your weapon, even if it is safe when you first make your weapon, it most likely, after seeing a few years of use, will not be safe anymore. So that is something that we always have to be thinking about when we're making weapons. Looks like I forgot one of our foams over here, a very important foam to your kit. This is squishy foam or seat cushion foam, and it is used in multiple different applications. Axe blades, thrusting tips for systems that require thrusting tips on your weapons. It's also used for sculpting and making other fun special effects. So this stuff is great, but it does not have a good adherence quality to duct tape. So there's some shrink wrap techniques that you can use with this, and there's also some plastidip techniques that you can use with this. So keep your eye out for old seat cushions. Strip off what you can and get the good stuff out of it. So that would be seat cushion foam. Now, notice that all of these products that you see are foams, plastics, tapes. General rule is when you're making weapons is you do not have any metal in your weapons. So try to follow that rule. You are certainly allowed to use glues of many types, but be careful of the glue that you use, that it's not going to become sharp after it dries. Hot glue is perfectly acceptable. Contact cement is perfectly acceptable, but that's the general rule. Plastic, glue, foam, and of course fiber. So those are some materials. I hope that sets you out on your path of looking for them. And remember that there are so many out there that are at low cost because people don't look at them as weapon making or LARP creation materials. So keep your eyes out and don't be above dumpster diving for some of this material. Otherwise it can get very expensive when you're ordering it online. And once you get your stash, once you get your stockpile, the world of foam crafting will be at your fingertips. Thank you very much.